We're going to be looking at what's happening with the foreign reserves. As we know, the foreign reserves have actually dropped, according to statistics from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Foreign reserves have actually dropped below 41,000 to about $40.8 billion. And so we're going to be looking at this and the implication on the economy and how we expect this to also affect the stability of the Naira. I'm being joined on the program by two economists, Gabriel Idahosa, he is the Chief Executive Officer of UHY Maji & Co, and Bayo Durodola is an economic analyst with BGL Group. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, when that piece of news actually hit the market, that when we saw that on the CBN's website, that foreign reserves have dropped below $41 billion to $40.8 billion, a lot of people wondered, what's the implication, and is this something to begin to worry about? Let me start with you, Mr. Durodola.
Well, I would say it's something to begin to worry about, especially in relation to how that impact the Naira exchange rate and the fact that there's what we call a transmission process, whereby the volatility of exchange rate transmit into prices and inflation eventually. And the implication for really the effect of this relates to the content of import in an average consumption in Nigeria. And when prices begin to go up, it definitely hits the consumer's pocket, the masses' pocket, and it is not something we want. In addition to that, inflation volatility creates serious instability in the economy. So if, therefore, the transmission process to inflation through foreign exchange actually could be kickstarted by depletion of, or what I call a reduction in foreign reserve, it should be a source of worry.
Mr. Idahosa, do you also share the same view?
I think the primary concern is how much you have to import regularly. If your foreign reserves falls close or below 6 months imports, then everyone gets worried. The local community, the international business community begins to wonder how much you can sustain your regular imports. Nigeria's regular import is fairly well known, and at 40 billion you are just covering about 6 to 7 months import, and that begins to give you a lot of worry that if that trend continues and you fall below 6 months import in your foreign reserve, then everyone has cause to worry that at some point whatever has caused your reserves to go to that level can make it go even lower, and you don't want to get to a situation where you have only 2 or 3 months imports.
Yeah, because we've noticed that in the last couple of months, the central bank has increased the amount of money it uses to intervene in the interbank forex market. And then when, with the news of the suspension of the CBN governor actually hit the market, it further had to intervene with about $600 million. Now, a lot of people are wondering, there's this argument and there's this debate that is there any other way the Central Bank of Nigeria could have helped to stock or shock the market based on what happened?
Well, I think we have to realize that CBN does not manufacture foreign exchange. CBN is just a moderator of the market. You have the big players who are importing a lot of goods, and you have the exporters. And the major exporter now is oil. So when oil prices are flat, when our volumes are lower than our regular volumes, and our foreign exchange incomes are going down, and our exports and our imports are going up, of course, you're going to have that imbalance. And what CBN has been trying to do is to try and cover that imbalance, hoping that at some point, pricing will balance the two, in the sense that if you find that your imports are getting too expensive, whether as a consumer or as a manufacturer, you want to reduce what you import.
But based on what we know, that apart from the CBN, we also have oil companies that actually sell dollars at the market to some lenders. Shouldn't the Central Bank of Nigeria begin to think of how to reduce how much it uses to intervene in the market in terms of dollar supply?
The extent to which the CBN can reduce how much is used to intervene in the market depends on where it wants the dollar to go. I mean, the naira exchange rate to dollar to go. A central policy of the administration of monetary policy in Nigeria today is to keep the naira exchange rate stable. They've told us several times that they are not interested in either strong or lower naira, but rather a stable one. And that is why what they advise most time, or what we call a policy target, is at a point in time. Right now we have 155 per US dollar with a volatility of 3% up or down. And that, the policy arrangement and administration is focused at ensuring that this level of rate is stabilized. Now, the monetary authority does not have control on what other autonomous sources you mentioned, oil and whatever, does with his money. It is revenue, he's bringing it in, he wants to change it to naira so that he can use it to finance operation, pay profit, and settle other things. So that's an autonomous source, it goes through the bank. Now, as the biggest custodian of dollar through the foreign reserve we mentioned, the CBN also try to ensure that it achieves the stability we talked about. Because when you have a volatility of exchange rate, it creates serious problem for corporate planning, fiscal policy implementation, because you can hardly plan. And when you have money in your economy in terms of FPI, FDI, foreign direct investment, it also creates serious imbalances for this guy to plan. And so it deters does such money staying in your system, affects corporate planning, and at the end of the day translate into inflation and serious macroeconomic instability. So what the CBN does is to use the foreign reserve to ensure that there are supplies that keeps that stability goal in focus. And so therefore the limit to which it can begin to ask autonomous sources to take over from itself in terms of reducing how much intervene is very, very limited. Rather, we will then begin to talk about alternative method.
Well, in spite of all of this intervention that we're seeing, we still notice that at the interbank forex market, for instance, the naira still depreciated. It lost about 24 kobo yesterday. And so it now begins to beg to reason that with all this intervention, why isn't the naira still stable at the interbank forex market, for instance, or at the parallel market? Because we still see a very strong disparity at the interbank market, for instance. Now the naira is trading at about 163, 164 naira to the dollar, and at the CBN's official window, it's about 155 naira 75 kobo. At the parallel market, is way higher. So what really is happening? How should we begin to tackle this, Mr. Idahosa? Let's hear you.
Well, you tackle, as he said, it's like you are trying to manage a snake in a bottle. It's moving around all the time. You will never be able to say the exchange rate will be this for this number of days. It's going to keep moving. What you want to try and do is keep it within that band that CBN is trying to do. And all these are independent players. They are free agents. I go and buy as many dollars as I want, and go and sell as many dollars as I want. And what CBN is doing is tracking this and saying, too many people are buying, the price is going up, let me supply more to bring it to within the limit. Or there is excess supply in the market, let me reduce my supply. That's all CBN can do and will continue to do. If you want to get the stability that we really need, then you have to look at the supply. How many people are supplying dollars to the market? Apart from the oil industry, who else can supply dollars to the market? That's the question, really. The CBN can only make any different move if it changes its goals. If it says that I'm no more looking at 155 as my midpoint, if I move my midpoint to 160, then I can change. CBN cannot change a lot of things. They can put more money or take less money. But so long as they want to stay at 155, they will just continue to add as much money as they can afford from their reserves to try and keep it there, in the hope that over time the market will adjust, in the sense that there's incentive for us to export if we are exporters, and at that assured price as an importer, I can begin to perhaps ensure that I find some alternative means of meeting my imports. The whole issue of import substitution, of doing some of the things we do where we import locally, those things have to happen. The CBN is just like a referee. He is not going to stop the game. He's not going to make one side weaker than the other. He's just going to keep moderating and hoping that the other big player in the economy, the fiscal side, the government, the policy makers on the other side, stimulates the activities that will generate foreign exchange. It's just buying time, so to say, for the rest of the economy to react to the fact that our exchange rate is going up, so you make more money as an exporter, so I export more. I lose more money as an importer, so I should import less. The CBN continues to manage while it expects other players to react to the situation. But if other players keep demanding more dollars, it's even at 170, everybody is still buying the dollars. And it goes to 175, everybody is still buying the dollars. Then you don't expect CBN to come up with some kind of magic.